Good morning, guys. Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. This is a totally impromptu live stream. I didn't put it out there on social media at all. I was up this morning working on the newsletter to go out today. Normally, the Saturday edition of the workshop podcast is pre-recorded. However, today I thought, you know what? It's a new year. It's a new day, and it was time for me to make my goals for the workshop community public, where we're heading in 2022. And all I can say is I am excited. You know, I've seen, excuse me, guys, a little hoarse today, but anyway, I have seen so many people shooting down 2022. Everybody said, well, what a dumpster fire 2020 and 2021 was. And then a very common meme this morning that I have seen just about everywhere has been a train coming into the station completely on fire. Sorry, guys. And so it says, here comes 2022. And if that's your mindset heading into 2022, I can bet you one thing. That thing is simply, if you look for a dumpster fire in 2022, you are going to find a dumpster fire in 2022. Now, if you look for good things in 2022 and you set a solid vision, clear goals, and to steal my friend Ken Aish's mindset, to have strong habits to build those goals, you are going to be all set in 2022. So for me, I thought, what better time than, of course, January 1st, completely impromptu. Hey, Joseph, how are you? Nice to see you, buddy. This was completely unplanned. I just popped on this morning to make my goals public for this channel, where we're going to head as a community and what we are up to. So I hope everyone had a wonderful, hey, Know Your Joe, how are you? Happy New Year. See my mug? What am I doing out of bed? Yeah, I've been up for a while. Sorry, guys. I got this frog thing going on. I won't mention it again. Just deal with it today, I guess. So heading into 2022, if anybody else has followed some of my fellow content creators, a big theme of this year, and it's been for a while, has been choosing a word of the year. And that's been something that I've done for the last, well, this makes 3 years now, where I've chosen a word for the overall theme of my life, for my content creation business, for my all seasons maintenance handyman business. And I thought, you know what, this year I'm going to make it absolutely public with you guys. So here we go. And to give credit where credit is due, if you guys follow Nicole over on Living Free in Tennessee, she pushes the word of the year concept there a lot. Amy Dingman this year shared it quite a bit. Morning, Chris. How are you? Totally impromptu. I've mentioned it a couple times. Nice to see you guys. See us. We're all up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and nobody was out partying or whatever on New Year's Eve, whatever. Anyway, I was in bed by 10:30. But Jenny Hill in the LFTN, the Living Free in Tennessee community, has really been the one who has spearheaded this idea of having a word of the year that kind of encapsulates your entire theme of what you're doing in whatever year it happens to be. So I was going to pop back and tell you, so the last 2 years, so basically officially launched this content creation YouTube channel, eventually podcast, social media conglomeration, you know, that kind of stuff, 2 years ago. It started in 2019, but I officially call, when I appeared on Nicole's Living Free in Tennessee podcast, February of 2020 was the official beginning birthplace of Toolman Tim's workshop. And so that year, my word of the year, I went back and forth between the two, but that one was build. And I wanted to build something incredible. And you know what? I think in some ways I succeeded. I was very happy with where I ended up at the end of 2020. And 2021, my word was grow, because I'd already built something special, I felt. And what I wanted to do was just keep doing what I was doing and grow it from there. And of course, I know I say this all the time, but if it wasn't for everybody in the workshop community, that growth wouldn't be there. So thank you guys. And so, as you know, I put out kind of 5 pieces of content a week. And that is kind of my max line. That is where I'm not going to go above and beyond that. So to use words like build and grow this year, I felt were a little disingenuous. I still want to build. I still want to grow, but I don't want it to be at the expense of trying to do more and more and more, because I'm just not going to. I won't enjoy it if I do that. So this year, I decided my overall theme for this channel and for the entire workshop community is invest. I looked at a couple other words. I looked at multiply. I looked at extend. And to me, extend made you feel like I'm just putting myself out there even more, like stretching myself even thinner. Because what I want is for our workshop this year to extend, to multiply, to grow out, and bring in more and more people. Hey, Tim, Ken, I was reading your comment there. Good morning, Tim. Here's to an amazing 2022. You as well, Ken. I just mentioned you a minute ago. So yeah, so the idea behind where I want our channel and this entire incredible community to go was, well, we need to continue to grow. We need to continue to build. I want to bring in more and more people who have the same kind of mindset and vision that we can share with one another, and hopefully help people live a more prepared life, which to me is the ultimate goal. Multiply works because, you know, I want to get bigger on a larger scale, on a more exponential scale, which was cool, but it really wasn't what I was looking for. And like I said, extend, again, that to me encapsulates part of reaching out, but it kind of makes you feel like you're doing more than you probably can comfortably or healthily. Is that a word? Anyway, so for me, my word for this year and for our entire community was invest. And the idea behind that was, you know, I know how much time and energy I am going to, morning, Ted, how are you, buddy? How much time and energy that I am going to put into our community. And so in this year, I want to focus that time and energy into the areas that will give everyone the most return. And so with that word invest, it kind of encapsulates all of my goals for our content this year. So I wanted to, I guess, you know, if you follow my newsletter as well, in there I say go big or go home. And to me, the entire idea behind going big and going home is I want to make my goals public, at least the portion of my goals. And if you guys listened to the episode a couple of weeks ago where I talked about setting goals and not resolutions, New Year's resolutions are made to be broken. I talk about it all the time. Somebody makes a resolution that they're going to get healthy, they're going to lose weight. The first time they go to McDonald's and have a double cheeseburger, they feel like they failed and they move on. That's why I set goals. I make an entire list every year. I start working on them sometime in December. I know where I want my life and my businesses to head going forward into the next year. And so that's what I do. I make an entire list, and, you know, I have a section for content creation. I have a section for my handyman business. I have a section for my preps, and I have a section for my family. And so to me, at least for the workshop and for this content creation, I wanted to make those goals public. So here, let's talk about where I'd love to see. Joseph says, looking forward to seeing what you do. I'm going to try to follow a similar path. I dramatically underestimated my goal of 2,500 subs for this year, so I'm going to set a more ambitious one for 2022. Right. Big, audacious, hairy goal. I'm sure I got that in the wrong order there, but yes, go big or go the frig home. There's no sense in, you know what, if we want to be here, and, you know, I want this entire thing, and I make no qualms about this. I want the workshop to be a portion, a very significant, maybe half, or maybe someday, I'm going to say it out loud for the first time, maybe a full-time income. But I would certainly be happy if my content creation eventually was half of my goal. You know, I set a goal last year that I didn't even put on paper that, you know, I wanted to make, I'll put it out there. I wanted to make $1,000 a month Canadian from my content creation. And this was at a point when I set this goal that I might have had $10 in Amazon affiliate sales. That was it. And you know what? I'm halfway to that goal. that was just kind of a goal that I was too scared to even put on paper. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say I would love to see this become at least half of my income, because the older we get, the harder handyman work and construction work and going out in the snow, the harder it is on our bodies. And I'm not saying I'm ready to give it up by any means, because I friggin' love it. But how awesome would it be to have this kind of content creation business that a person that you can move around, you can travel, and you can still continue to be a complete part of the community, and you don't have to be geographically centered to one spot for 12 months of the year. So that's kind of one of my goals. Hey, Tom, how are you? I'm going to put this up here. My last 6 years where I love this. I think that is one of my favorite parts of the freedom-minded community, is that we get shit done. And the fact that Tom was like, boom, here are my 6 years words. So the last 6 years: better, faster, smarter, lean, fit, and healthy. When I was young, I had power, influence, and control. And yes, those are incredible. And the healthy one is one that I'm going to touch on a little bit more today, because I kicked ass with that for the first 10 months of the year. And then I fell right off a cliff for the last 2 months. And that is completely on me. And that's probably the one personal goal that I'm going to share with you guys, is straight back on to hardcore keto carnivore, because it works. It fills me up. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing we'll talk about in a little bit for sure. But so the very first goal that I have in mind is the workshop podcast is basically 3 episodes a week right now. So we have our 2 live streams, Preparedness on Thursday and Sunday night, interviews mostly. Saturday is going to become, or has become, what was called the weekend workshop. It's just going to be another episode of the workshop podcast. It's going to be more focused on projects and doing, more than likely a little bit shorter. I don't plan on doing these Saturday morning lives all the time. This was just one of those things that I had to get out there and I had to share with you guys. So, but there's going to be 3 episodes a week. And my goal for the podcast this year is to hit 1,000 downloads of the audio only version every single episode. And, even 2 months ago, that was such an incredible, crazy, outside the box. And for some people that might not seem like a whole lot, but that is my goal. That my goal is to get every episode to at least 1,000, and then to find a sponsor. And I don't mean like some just generic sponsor off the internet that's willing to throw a little bit of money at my way. But my goal is to approach a few brands or social media platforms or things like that I use, that I respect, that I absolutely wouldn't mind being sponsored by. And I'm going to find one. So mark my words, by January 1st, 2023, I'm going to have a sponsor, and it's going to be something that hopefully, that I respect and that you guys will respect, and that it will be absolutely out of pure motives, I guess, or whatever the word for that would be. But yes, that's where I'm heading, and that's where I want to go. Now, the YouTube channel, and this is where the invest thing comes back. I really want to invest in the areas that are going to grow that significantly, because as you can imagine, the YouTube channel and the Amazon affiliate sales are the 2 biggest portions of income that come from this. And so, and the tool review videos are the ones that bring in the most money up front, and long-term they continue to. So my goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers this year. Now, even when I say that, I want to put out a caveat and say, well, maybe, or it would be nice, or, my absolute craziest goal would be, because in my mind, 5,000 seems like it should be a good goal for 2023. And that was the one I wanted to put on paper. But Ted says, Toolman Tim, get more Diablo. Absolutely. And I still got a ton of that stuff to do reviews on. But 5,000 to me is a sensible goal. And if you look at what I'm growing monthly, 5,000 should be where I will be come January 1st, 2023. But I'm not going to settle for that. I'm going to focus on investing, and we're going to grow it. And I'm going to shoot for 10,000. Joseph's probably going to be at 20 by that point. And I'm excited for him, man. He is. And so the whole idea is, to figure out the way to invest, to multiply, and to bring it up. Hey, good morning, James. How are you? This is my buddy James. For a few of you who may not know yet, from the Prepper Broadcast Network, talking about the great things that happened in 2022 and the friggin' incredible things that are going to happen in 2023. And James was a huge part of that. Mama Bear, good morning, says, good morning from the top of the hill in southern Manitoba. I can almost see you from here. The sky is clear and it's a beautiful, beautiful cold day. But yeah, so I since James is on here, I got to say thank you, man. This has been incredible. I can't wait to get back on Thursday with a preparedness episode. But yes, so great things happened, and even better, bigger things are going to happen. So 10,000 subscribers, that's where the Toolman Tim's workshop will be at the end of this year. See how I did that? Even when I say it, it still scares me because I'm like, how can you be so full of yourself, Tim, to say that? But you know what? If we don't set damn goals like that, then we're never going to be there. And so, and the best part is, if you shoot for I'm just going to say it, if you shoot for a fucking incredible, way out there goal, then even if you don't get it, the amount of forward momentum and progress you've made is incredible. So let's leave it at that. See? January 1st, and you already got an F-bomb out of me, so that was great. Ted says, I wish I'd have prepped for a mean hangover. I'm really glad I don't have one of those today, man. So I mentioned next goal is get my very first podcast sponsor. I'm just going to put it out there publicly. It's going to be a slog to do it, but I am happy and I'm going to find one. Enough said there. I've already talked about it. Next one is in 2020, I appeared on 2 podcasts. In 2021, I managed to get on 5. And to me, and I'm sure you've noticed this, but so many people look at growing as competition. I need to outdo this guy, or I need to outdo this lady, or whatever. And that is, there's one thing I can say to upcoming content creators is the way to grow is through collaboration. It is absolutely, like, to me, okay, the old cliche that a rising tide floats all boats. I might have screwed that up, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm on a roll this morning and we got to talk about it. But so yeah, a rising tide floats all boats. And if you look at fellow content creators as competition, you're doing it wrong and you're not going to succeed. So the idea to me is reach the hell out. I started reaching out before I had any before I should have even been able to. I reached out to a ton of creators that were bigger than me. And you know what? Back in April, so we're like 4 months into 2021. I don't even know how small my channel was at that time. I'm not sure. It was small. I was just a piddly little fart in the ocean, and I still am. But that being said, I reached out to, was it 8 fellow content creators to make that collab video on tools, and every one of them said yes. And you know what? I would shout people out on social media when there was nobody listening, because that's what you do. What little audience you have, you reach out and you share with other people. And the more we reach out, like I told James, when he reached out to me from the Prepper Broadcast Network, I didn't know who they were. And that's on me too. You know what I mean? Like I didn't realize there's this incredible community out there, another like-minded community full of incredible preparedness people that I didn't even know about. And when I found them, it was like, man, I'm home, you know? And it's awesome. So the more we reach out, the more we help one another, the more we grow together. Because if we look at, sorry guys, if we look at everybody like competition, then you're never going to reach out. You're never going to get better. Joseph is another perfect example of that, man. He added me to a roundtable messenger thing with some fellow content creators, and it's another great resource. And Joseph and we didn't know each other. I can't even remember how he found me, but way, way back. And he kind of took me under his wing and he talked to me about what, where to go, what he's been doing. And we've kind of grown together. And if you looked at fellow content creators as, like I said, competition, you're doing it wrong. Reach out, collaborate. If you want to collaborate with somebody who has a lot larger audience than you, great. But also reach out to people who are the same size. Reach out to people who haven't grown where you want them to. give everybody a chance. Like, oh, I love it. Anyway, you guys are just full of content. I got to go back here. Hey, Tom from Small Scale Life, he dropped in. He said, you're going to get on my podcast in 2022, buddy. I appreciate it so much. I didn't see, I've been going along here. You guys have been just filling up the comments this morning. James from PBN says, I got a great resource for podcast guest appearances. I will shoot you a link. That is awesome. I love it. Yeah. And there's so many, like, whatever field people happen to be in, or whatever topic that you love to talk about, whatever you're passionate about, there are so many other little niche communities out there. So I don't even know if I said what it was, but 12. That's my goal this year, is to be on 12 podcasts, one a month, simply because I want to get out there. I want to meet new people. I want to share what I know, but I want to learn from other people what they know. And like I said, it's the best way for communities to grow, is to join other communities. I'm a sucker for prepper porn, and I read a lot of that. And I'm listening to a new series right now. I wish I could remember the name, but it was actually free in my Amazon Audible subscription service. And, the whole idea in there is community. You have all these outposts. It's like the movie with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. Anyway, I can't remember the name right now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's all these little, because they can't go anywhere, they can't make any noise, and there's all these communities out there, that the quiet place, there we go, that's the name of it, and they're all separate, and eventually they start, well, they know they're there, so maybe we can communicate, or maybe we can I don't even know, pool your resources, but that's the idea. Look for all these different communities, all these different content creators, all these different people out there, because you just never know. I've told the story so many times, but Pappy Cannoli, I'm not even sure. I have to ask him how he found out about the workshop, but he was a regular in the chat, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, I mentioned you to James over at PBN, and that turned into one of the most incredible collabs I could ever have. Joseph says, heck yes, you need as many fellow YouTubers as you can have as friends. It's amazing what it can do for everyone involved. In just a simple conversation. I don't know if you guys ever notice this sort of thing, but sometimes we can get lost in our own brain, and we hear, we think, okay, well, I don't know how to solve this, or this is the only solution that I know. And then you have a chat and you're like, well, shit, you're right. And, again, like talking about James, we had a chat one day, and I was telling him about some of my plans for where I wanted to be. And somehow out of that conversation came the idea of preparedness manuals. And guys, that is what I'm going to work on this year. I haven't even put it into my notes at all for you, but I want to put together a paper resource, kind of similar to some of the old home improvement books that you used to be able to buy for fellow preppers, preparedness-minded people, and just, regular everyday Joes, things that you can have on your shelf that you can help you in case, the grid ever goes down, whatever. So, that's a lot of work, and I'm going to put that there, and we're going to, hopefully have one or two of those by the end of 2022 that I'll have as, a product that'll be out there. It'll be awesome. There's so much to do from there. Tom says, thanks, Tim. You're great. I appreciate that, man. John Grohl says, in business, I am friends with competitors. Everyone has their niche and you can help each other. Absolutely. Back when I used to sell building supplies and sell tools and all of that, to me, I wanted to make sure the customer was happy. And if I didn't have something, I sure as shit was going to send them across the street, or I was going to call, my competitor across the road or down the road or wherever it happened to be to find them what they needed. Because you know what? That customer or that community member is going to remember that. And yeah, that's the same idea as, I do my damnedest to respond to every single YouTube comment, every single PM I get in social media. I try to answer as many questions as I can. And, I know there's going to come a day when there's going to be so much of that some stuff will be lost, but I'm doing my damnedest to make sure that I can keep up with everybody. And that to me, that's all we can do, right? James says, hello, Tim, and the handyman of the world. Nice to see you, sir. Yeah, this is a good morning, guys. I love the new year. I love looking forward to what single steps every single day. We set our goals. And then we work on those goals every single morning, whether it's getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning or staying up later, whatever it happens to be. But find your time, make your time, and get shit done for sure. The next one, to me, Sunday evening has become my interview show. And if I could have 52 interviews this year, I absolutely would. And I'm going to reach out to some large creators, and I'm going to shoot for a big fish, someday, I'm just going to put it out there. Someday I would love to interview Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. I don't know. He's just one of the guys that I really respond to, and I'm going to do it. It may not be this year. It may not be next year, but I'm just going to throw it out there. But anyway, I'm going to reach out to at least 12 creators who are off my radar or just really big gets for our community. And to me, hey, if I get 1, 2, 3, whatever it happens to be, I'm excited. I actually really kind of cool is Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee. She's going to be on the show. I want to say it is January 24th, whatever it is. So I reached out to her and said, I would love to have, I'd love for you to come on the show. And she said, yeah, whenever you want me to come on, I'll come on. And she's going to talk about, I believe the idea is on rental properties, income properties, because she's made a killing at that. But the cool thing is it just so happens to be the 2-year anniversary of when I was on her show originally. And, quick little story. That was, like I said, January, February of 2020. I was originally scheduled to be on her show back in October or November of 2019. And I know it's going to be hard to believe. I chickened out. I hadn't done any public speaking or any live, interviews or anything in like almost 20 years. And it's something that I used to do all the time, but I chickened out and I'm like, oh, okay. You know what, Nicole, I don't really want to do this. And she's like, she let me off the hook or whatever, and then come back at me later on. And I'm like, you know what, when I go on that show, I'm going to have something to launch. And that is when I launched my Growing Your Handyman Business. It was a 10-part series on how to start a handyman business. And that was when I launched this channel. And the rest is history. So anyway, 2 years later, I'm now going to have Nicole on my podcast. And to me, that is just friggin' incredible. I love how things come. So thank you to Nicole for giving me that shot. And of course, where would I be if Jack, well, first off, I got to say, I went on the Survival Podcast and talked about the handyman as well. And I took my chance and took my shot, because you get like 5 minutes afterwards to chat with the host or whatever, and I just said, hey, Jack, you know what? I think you need a handyman on the Expert Council. Or if you're looking for a handyman to answer tool questions, I would love to have that chance. And he said, that sounds like a good idea. 24 hours later, he sends me an email. If you got time, knock out a segment and I'll give you a tryout. Well, I pulled over to the side of the road, recorded one right then, send it to him. So it's all about making the best of our opportunities too, right? But I got to thank Jack for that too. But anyway, so it was just really cool to have Nicole coming on. And yes, Ted asks, what's the Toolman Tim's workshop? What's the temperature up there in Freedom units? I think Chris answered that for me, -11. As of right now, it's -32 Celsius. Coming home from the theater last night, it was an hour-long drive. And it's cold, like in the mid-30s. If you were to slide off the road and crash and your vehicle not work, you're talking minutes, maybe a half an hour before things get really serious. So you always think about that. Add extra layers, bring a blanket, just know where you are. Drive a little more sensible, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, she's chilly up here. So yeah, I did have that written down. Put together my 2 preparedness manuals for you guys. They're going to be put together by the end of the year, and it's going to be awesome. I am so looking forward. I've wanted to write a book for a while. I actually have 3/4 of a book written on becoming a handyman. And that just completely fizzled out in 2021. And you know what? If I don't have the passion for something, I usually leave it by the wayside, right? So, and that's where it sits right now. And maybe in a couple of years, maybe I'll get back at it and modify it, but it just got kind of bloated and it wasn't for me. And it's just sitting there. It's going to be one of my, trunk books or chest books, like Stephen King says. Not that I'd ever compare myself to him, but he keeps, partly finished books in a box somewhere and then revisits them down the road when life has changed a little bit. Know Your Joe says temps are supposed to drop to like 40 degrees today in Fort Worth, Texas. Well, that's chilly for you guys. It's supposed to get up to, I don't know, about 30 degrees Fahrenheit in the next day or two. Yeah. And of course, Ted, 83 and sunny down here in beautiful Florida, right? So from there, if all goes well, I am supposed to be in Nashville, in Tennessee in April, to meet a whole bunch of people and to speak at Nicole's Living Free in Tennessee spring workshop. We had to cancel last year, and I was seriously disappointed. And come hell or high water, I want to make it there. And the way things are looking right now, I don't want to be a pessimist, but anyway, doesn't matter. We're not going to go into that today. As of right now, I'm going to be there, and I want to be there. I am excited to be there. And so my goal is to figure out 3 live speaking engagements this year, because being live on YouTube is a whole hell of a lot different than speaking live in person. And it's been a lot of years since I got up in front of a crowd and talked. And I figured the best way to do that is to just find opportunities to do it. So I don't even know where I'm going to find my other 2 speaking opportunities yet, but I'm putting it out there publicly that is going to be one of my goals. I don't even know how I'm going to get there yet, but I put it on paper, electronic paper on my phone, right? And I'm going to get there. So we're going to make it work. So now here is a couple other things. This one is, I don't know. Anyway, so my all seasons maintenance handyman page or, business has they've overlapped with Toolman Tim. And I really want a separate landing space for that, just for local people to find my handyman page and for out of town property management companies to find me, because that seems to be one of those things. So I'm going to separate, if you're on the Facebook page for what is all seasons maintenance, that has been my all seasons page for a few years now. And I'm going to separate it. I actually launched a Facebook page for Toolman Tim's workshop the other day. I haven't made it public, really posted anything to it, but going forward, the Toolman Tim site is going to be that. It's going to be a new Facebook page for that. And all seasons maintenance is just going to be for all seasons maintenance. And I don't mind people following both pages, but I didn't want local people who just want to know about my business to feel like they were inundated with all of this Toolman Tim workshop stuff. So it's going to be separated. It's just a part about having brands separate, right? Ken says the Underground Railroad will get me to Tennessee. You are absolutely correct, sir. And that is funny and scary and sad and exciting, all rolled up into one. And Ted says, Toolman Tim, maybe you could find a reason to come to South Florida and speak. It would be a tax write-off. Oh, absolutely. And my wife would love it. And yeah, that's the beauty of doing some of this stuff is it is also a tax write-off, right? To me, yeah, there's just so much, man. And I could go on a whole tangent right now about being smart in setting up businesses. But one of the best things we did this year was my wife setting up her daycare business. It allowed us to have enough employees now into our healthcare plan that we actually get better benefits with less money. And some of us even get double coverage. Anyway, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But being smart in business is the way to get ahead and the way for independent-minded preparedness people. If you want freedom, entrepreneurship is where you find it. Absolutely. I thank you, Joe. He says, Know Your Joe says, I really like Tim, his channel, and the information he provides. This is a great place. Now, I'm not much for tears, even though I did cry when I get to see my grandmother and stuff when I went out east. But that, to me, just makes me seriously happy, guys. So thank you. Those kind of compliments are what make this incredible, right? So, and Tom says, smart Tim, keep the local stuff for the locals. Make hiring you easy. Big red easy button. That was easy, right? Absolutely. So yes. And Tom says, how do you keep the local clients happy when you travel on the road for speaking and visiting family? So this is a big one. I'm going to touch on that in just a minute, Tom. I'm going to leave it up on the screen. I'm going to answer that. I got 4 more quick goals I want to touch on, and it won't take long, but I want to answer this question for you. So just in case some people are listening, they're like, get to list your goals to, anyway. But So we're also going to have an official Toolman workshop, MeWe, and Telegram groups. I want somewhere official that, I mean, not that we don't already, but I've really fallen in love with Telegram, especially with my incredible collaborators. I haven't even touched on that yet with the Fireside Freedom. We have got an incredible, I believe it's 8 of us, right, Tom? And if I'm wrong, just slap me or something. Content creators who are going to get together, 3 or 4 of us each week to talk about freedom-minded stuff. And I'm excited about that. But because of that, I've really fallen in love with Telegram. I love, the drop in, drop outness. I love how easy it is to, for the most part, keep up on the chats unless it gets really big. And it's a really quick way to build community. And I like it. So you're going to see right in the new year, a MeWe group and a Telegram group. And whichever one seems to become the place that people go to the most may become the de facto official group, but I'm going to launch both of them and we'll see where we end up. Yes, 8 of us creators talking. Thanks, Tom. And then this is a local thing, but the more I talk about preparedness and prepping and building community, I realize that almost all of my, preparedness-minded friends and colleagues are all across the world. And most of you are in the States, which is great, except there's this great big thing called the border, and it makes things really difficult right now. And I need to, and I am going to, because Canada's a big, wide, vast country, and Alberta's a big province. And my goal is to reach out and make more prepping connections in Canada, and specifically in Alberta, to the point where we can start getting together. Chris, if you're still on here, man, he stopped by to visit me on a completely random trip, called me ahead of time, said, hey, can I drop in? And it was one of the greatest visits I've had. I loved it. Him and his wife dropped in, and a 10-minute coffee out in the shop ended up being 2 or 3 hours chatting, and it was awesome. And that's the type of thing I want to do. I want to also build an online but in-person prepping community in Alberta and maybe in the surrounding area. And part of that is there's already a bit of a group on Telegram that I kind of started with a bunch of people, and then I just haven't had time or haven't made time. Sorry, that's the proper term there. I haven't made time to chat with people in there, and I'm going to. They've even had some in-person meetups that I've been like, I'm too busy. I need to stop that. We need to meet people locally because that's where it's at, right? Anyway, now the 3 big goals that I'm going to become, areas that I'm going to become better this year, and with me becoming better, hopefully it makes the content better for you guys, but become a better interviewer. And how does a person become a better interviewer? Well, number 1, by interviewing more people. Number 2, by listening to other interviewers who are better. Joe Rogan is one. Man, his interviews are long, but I love to listen to how he asks questions. So listen to better interviewers. And then this is the hardest one, is listen back to your own interviews. And that, to me, some people might say, oh, you're so full of yourself, you're listening to your own podcast. Well, there's a lot of days that I'll put them on and I'll listen to them because it's uncomfortable. Who loves, I guess there are some people that love the sound of their own voice, and maybe some days I do, I don't know, but it can be difficult. So listening back to your own podcast, listening back to your own interviews is how you're going to improve. And Chris says, it was awesome. My wife's feet were frozen because we wouldn't shut up. Yeah, you know what? My feet were cold too. I got to figure something out in my workshop there. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, it was an awesome visit, man. So number 2, become a better podcaster. And that kind of that falls into the interview thing. And I'm not even 100% sure what become a better podcaster means yet, but you guys will help me with that as well. So if there's areas that you're like, and here, I'm going to put myself out there. If there's areas you're like, Tim, you really suck at this. You need to get better, or this is an area there's improvement, or this is an area that I love. Like, don't just toot my own horn. I want to know where we can improve. Like a couple years ago, somebody's like, from the community, I wish I could remember who it was. They're like, Tim, your thumbnails are all over the place. They're awful. They're just hurting your channel. And I could have been like, oh yeah, whatever. I know what I'm doing. I'm happy. But instead, you know what I did? I took some time and I redeveloped my thumbnails, and I saw a huge improvement in my click-through rate, simply because I didn't get all bent out of shape and discombobulated. And I said, okay, here we are. I'm going to make better thumbnails, and I'm probably going to streamline them even more this year. But yeah, so become a better podcaster. And like I said, that is one area. I want it to improve. I want the product to improve, but I'm not even sure 100% what that means yet, but that is one of my goals. And then number 3 is become a better reviewer. like I said, the review videos are my bread and butter. They're what brings in that kind of recurring income. So I can't stop. I won't stop doing them because I love tools and I love prepping gear. But I want it to become better. I feel like sometimes they get bloated and I chat too long about the product. And I know some people like that. But if there's one negative comment that I get all the time, not all the time, but if there's one negative comment that's a bit recurring in my review videos, it's simply that I don't get to the point quick enough. And you know what? Review videos, I guess it just depends, right? Anyway, but I'm just being honest. So I'm going to become a better reviewer so that more people watch the videos, so that more people come into the channel, and so that more people grow overall. And by doing that, by investing in becoming a better reviewer, then hopefully I will see more returns. And the other big one is I'm going to find, I'm going to invest. I've been investing some, but a lot of the income that I make from the channel is going to go back into the channel so that it can simply become a better channel. So, so Tom put those in the comments for me so that so that they'll be there. But yes, become a better interviewer, become a better podcaster, and become a better reviewer. And that's in 12 months from now, I can promise you I'll be better at all three of those things. And I part of what I wanted to do today was just share with you guys, my process for getting better, because that's what I do. If I'm not getting better, I'm bored. And anyway, so there's that. So now Tom had a question and he says, how do you keep the local clients happy while you travel on the road for speaking and visiting family? So, okay, this is a bit of a slippery slope, and this is an area that I have failed miserably at in the past. I got to have some coffee here. Thank you, Tom. So first off, the big one is to have people you can count on. And I had an employee who was family that was a really good worker, but there was just so much other stuff that I'm not going to get into that I let him go at the beginning of this year. And I felt so much better for it. Could things have been done better? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so then, because here's my problem. And I think a lot of us entrepreneurs and preparedness-minded folk, we like to work by ourselves. We like to be the lone wolf. And I love to just go and work all day with earbuds in my ears and listen to podcasts and audiobooks and whatever else and just get shit done. The problem with that is, and I think about this all the time, is, Tim, what happens if you fall off a ladder and all of a sudden you're not able to work, you're not able to make money? What do I do? So first off, my business, the business has changed completely over the last 5 years. And it's gone more from odd jobs and like anything and everything to property management, snow removal. And did I mention property management? I love property management. I don't know why, but so both of those things are what I would call guaranteed income. And I do some landscaping too, and I enjoy it, and I may continue, but if I can build enough into the property management, it's going to be a whole lot better. Now, the beauty of property management is you don't really need to have a skilled employee to be able to handle it, because for a lot of anything above unlocking a door or, unplugging a stuck maybe toilet or sink, there's professionals in the area that I call in to handle most of that. That's just kind of what happens. Last night at 11:30 on New Year's Eve, I get a call from a local tenant. His furnace died, and it was minus 35, and he had no heat. Now, could I run over there and check on it? Yep, I could. But the problem is that every minute that I take to go and do that, and if it's something that I absolutely cannot fix, is another minute that he could be without heat at minus 35. Now, if this was the summer or the fall, no big deal. But I called the after hours emergency line, and I had a guy there within a half an hour. And I haven't even heard back from him yet, but I know that he has heat now. So that kind of thing. Anyway, I rambled to tell you that it is difficult. So first off, let's see, April and October are the 2 months when I don't have any contracts for snow or grass. So I do try to plan a lot of my travel in that area. Now, this year it was different because I had to go home and visit my dad. My incredible wife, my incredible brother-in-law, and my incredible sister-in-law took care of all the snow removal while I was gone. I need to figure out a better way to make sure that I guess what I need to do is stop being so cheap and to make sure to invest in, hey, there's my word again, invest in a good employee that I can count on. But now that property management is another whole nother, I don't know, ball of wax, kettle of worm, whatever it happens to be. But most of my properties only need to be checked on every 2 weeks. So that means that I kind of have that in between time that I can travel. So there's that as well. But I also, I need to make sure, and I do have people here that can do emergency things for me. So, setting yourself up, and this honestly, this trip to Nova Scotia that I just took was the first time I've been away for more than a night since I started my business almost 5 years ago. So it's time to start figuring this shit out. So this is a very long way for me to answer, Tom, that I'm not 100% successful at this yet. But we did succeed at, this year over the Christmas break of making sure the snow was done. And that's something I'm going to do more and more of. There's also a local guy here who also does snow removal. And again, this is all about being friendly with your competition. And we're not competition because we're both as busy as we need and we both turn work down. And he came to me last fall and said, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm wondering if you'd be willing to take care of my snow for the week or two while I'm gone. And he said, if you want to take a vacation, feel free as well. So you know what we did? We booked a trip to Hawaii as well. So we were going to be able to bounce that off and take care of it. And he's the type of guy that if I give him a list, I know I never have to worry about it. Just an incredible dude. Anyway, it ended up he canceled his trip. We postponed ours. So we're not going to be doing it this year. But that kind of thing. Make connections. Have people you can count on, and set up your business so that you can, it can kind of take care of itself. Like what's cool about property management is, and this isn't completely true, but if I have my cell phone, they can call me and I can deal with 95% of the problems over the phone. If it's somebody that's unlocked, I can call my son who works for me. I can say, here's the keys. I'm leaving them with you, because 8 calls out of 10 are exactly that. If it's plumbing, even if I need to pay for some of this out of my own pocket because I want to take a trip, I'm okay with that. Having good professionals that will look after you and take care of things for you is important as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And that is an area of improvement for my business as well going forward. But yeah, so there it is. Tom says, part of learning, doing, and growing, my friend. This is really good. Thank you. To me, it's just one of those things. Like I want my business to be better. I want my family life to be better. And I want this content creation side of things to be better. So yeah, that is what it is. And I'm just part of my wife and I's life since we moved to Alberta has been travel. And the last 2 years has been really hard because we haven't been able to travel. And for whatever reason, I find that when we travel, I don't even know how to put this, but I find that you get closer with your family. And I guess when we're together every single day, all the time, you're there and, you love each other, whatever, but there's something you find out about one another when you spend 2 weeks on the road, sightseeing, hanging out, doing everything together. You just, I came back from Nova Scotia and, I love seeing my family out there, but you know what the best part was those, and this is going to sound crazy, but was those 2 uninterrupted weeks I got to spend, or a week and a half I got to spend with my twin daughters. And we came back closer than we've ever been. And it was awesome. So anyway, for us, travel is a part of it. And that's part of the reason why I'm pushing toward more bigger property management, snow removal, and some landscaping. But I'm actually moving away from the odd job end of things because I want my business to be slightly more self-sufficient. And that's where we're at. So, you know what, guys? That's enough for this morning. I had planned on coming on and talking for 15, 20 minutes tops. And here we are 50 minutes in, a full-fledged episode that was only supposed to be 20 minutes. But I wanted to get out there. I wanted to inspire the hell off of you guys this morning because, frig, it's January 1st. Get shit done. Get out there and do great things. Set goals. When you have those goals, look at those goals every day and do something every single day. 1% improvement. That's it. Every single day, and look where you'll be at the end of the year. Anyway, guys, that's it for me this week, this morning. I'll be back tomorrow night for our regularly scheduled live stream. And guys, take care as always. Stay happy, stay healthy, and have a happy new year.